Hi everyone, welcome to a special episode of A Stitch in Time. I'm Carol, also known as Knits and Pearls on Ravelry. We are a good way into December now, and as the year draws to a close, I have been giving a lot of thought towards my crafting goals for 2024. And a big part of that is deciding which projects I want to carry forward into the new year. I am surrounded by baskets and boxes and bags, and my plan is to go through all of them and take a fresh look at all of my projects and decide which ones I want to finish and which ones I want to frog. So if that sounds like fun to you, settle in for the next half hour or so, and I welcome you along for the journey. So I think I will start with my most recent works in progress. For one, I can easily identify them by project bag. In some cases, I have no idea what's in the various bags. So I'm recording this on December 8th, the afternoon of my last regular episode that I recorded. So some of these projects may look familiar to you if you watched that one. So in this bag, I have some socks that I'm making for my husband for Christmas out of some sweet fiber yarns. They're a bamboo rib sock. I am ready for the heels, and these are definitely a keeper. I should have no problem getting them finished by Christmas. So these are going back in the bag and going into the keep pile. Next up is another pair of socks that I recently cast on. They are being knit from West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply Sparkle. This is the vintage Tinsel colorway. So these are some Christmas socks. Actually, since I showed them on the podcast this morning, I have completed the second cuff. And again, these are definitely keepers. So they will be going in the keep pile. I'm already parched. I'm also kind of at a weird angle, but it's the best I could do. I'm just sitting here on my couch in the living room. I'm trying to catch the last light of the day, and I have my ring light set up to this side, so hopefully the lighting will continue to be okay while we chat. I also have another pair of socks going. These are also recently cast on. They are my Scrappy Advent socks, which I am knitting from leftovers from my blanket of cheer. And so I will be adding a stripe to these as I use up the various mini skeins from last year's Holiday Countdown collection from Fiber Nymph Dye Works. So this is also definitely a keep, or a keeper. And speaking of that project, this is my blanket of cheer. I've pulled it out again to work on during December, and I'm having a ball with it. So here's my bag full of finished squares, and these ones need borders. And then over there, I have my bag that I keep my current working yarns in. So again, that's an easy decision. I'm keeping this. In this bag, Buckingham Palace, or from Buckingham Palace, was a gift from my sister. I have my Killer Queen pullover by Mary Annarella of Lyrical Knits. I've completed the body, and as you can see, I'm partway down one sleeve. This is definitely another keeper. I can't wait to finish this up, and hopefully I'll be able to do that I don't know about before the new year, but if not, hopefully near the beginning of it. Okay, now we get into, I guess I have a couple other sweaters that are fairly recent cast-ons. So this bag contains Coffee Break by Jose Paquin. And this is another fairly recent cast on. I bought this yarn when I was in Victoria in October. And I have completed the yoke and have divided for the sleeves. I'm knitting this out of Barocco Lannis Light. I've kind of stalled on this, I think in part just because I've stalled on a lot of my projects that weren't high priorities, but also I think because I'm not 100% happy with how the, let's see if I can find it. I'm not 100% happy with the transition for the stripes. Because these are one row stripes, it can be difficult to do jogless joins. I have a technique, but you can still see where it's happening. And since I've only done a couple of inches on here, by the way, my furnace has kicked in, hoping it's not too noisy, but I'm gonna just let it run. Because I've only done a couple of inches so far, I think what I'm going to do is take this back to where I divided for the sleeves. I'm going to add an extra stitch in the underarm, and I'm going to purl that stitch. And it will create a faux seam, and that way the color, the striping, where you change for your colors for your stripes, it will be less noticeable and I'll be much happier with it. So that's the plan for this one. So definitely a keeper. I love the sweater. I love this rusty red. It's kind of a heathered yarn. I think you can see pretty well there. So yeah, it's a keeper, but I need to do some ripping back, frogging back, but then definitely re-knitting. So keeper there. I have one more sweater that I cast on this fall, and that is Owen by Jennifer Wood of Woodhouse Knits. Let's see, looks like that. I am knitting it from Estelle Eco Tweed Worsted. Love this tweedy red yarn. Red's my favorite color. And I've made some pretty good progress on this sweater, but it's one that you need to really concentrate on because there are lots of cables, and they're not all the same, and you need to follow a couple of different charts. And so while this has been on pause for a little while, this is a sweater I have wanted to knit for a long time, and this is something I really want to finish. So this is also a keeper, one that I intend to bring forward to 2024. So I think that's it for my most recent projects. I think I have one more. I just spotted it. I think it's in this bag. Yes. This, well, let's see. This is one completed Cariboo fall sock. It's a design that I designed. It's a pattern I designed, and I am knitting this pair from Sweet Fiber Yarns in the I think apple picking colorway, something like that. Yeah, apple picking. It's from the fall 2022 sock club. So I had knit several samples when I designed the pattern, but I've never knit a pair just to wear for myself. And so this yarn was part of my personal sock yarn club this year, and judging from the bag, I think I must have started it back in the summer. I'm that far on the second sock, and you know what? I love this combination too much to frog it. I mean, look at me, I'm not quite 1.5 socks into it. So this is also going to be a project that I carry forward into 2024. All right, that brings us to the end of all the most current projects. I have some other long lingering whips here. One that is sitting right next to me in this box from Knit Picks. This is the Dogwood Blossoms cardigan. Here it is as a pullover. I'm knitting the cardigan version, but in this colorway. This has been going for a couple of years anyway. I've done, let's see here. Whoops, I'm caught. I've done this much of both sleeves, and that's it. But you know, this is one of those projects that I had wanted to do for a long time. I ordered all the yarn. It's one I really want to make. I just need to find some time where I have the opportunity to really pay attention and, you know, give it some time. And so I am not frogging this. I really am hoping to give it some attention in the new year. So this is also a keeper, but I'm gonna move this box onto the coffee table in front of me because that will give me more room to move around. Okay, why don't I see what's in these bags? This one I think I might know. This one I don't even have a clue. So let's find out. It's got a little bit of something caught there. Oh, okay. This is a project that's been on my conscience. I think it was last year. Early last year, I started designing 3 Downton Abbey inspired socks. I had purchased the half skein set from Mid-Knit Cravings. It came with a half skein of 3 different colorways named after the 3 sisters from the first season of Downton Abbey. And then it came with 3 mini skeins. And what I wanted to do is design a different sock for each of the sisters. And I wanted to get it out of, you know, the half skein, the 50 grams. And so I started knitting from the toe up, and I did, I started all of them the same with the mini skein toe. And then I picked 3 different stitch patterns, 1 for each sister. And I think on 2 of the socks I got up to close to where it's time to do the cuffs. And I think what's made me stall on this project is I can't decide what I want to do with the leg on one of them. So this is the Edith sock, and it features this, I think it's called tire track pattern that runs up the left and right side of each sock on the instep. So not on the side of the sock, but just on the side of the instep. And I chose that pattern because in one of the later seasons, Edith learns how to drive, and it gives her some independence. So that's my Edith sock, or Lady Edith sock. Lady Mary, I chose this lace pattern, and this is the coordinating skein, and again I believe I'm close to the top of the leg. Oh good, that thing kicked off. I'm close to the top of the leg, and what I wanted to do was get both socks to the same point, and then I can figure out how much of the coordinating skein I have left, and I can divide it between the two. So there's Lady Mary, and what's holding me up is Lady Sybil. I had to think for a minute. So on Lady Sybil's sock, I did some parasols going up the instep. And what's holding me up is I can't decide whether to just continue the parasols going up the front of the leg, or if I also want to add a different stitch pattern on the back of the leg. And sadly, that's been my hang up. So once I figure that out, I can go ahead and knit all three of these socks as far as I can go on the leg, and then I'll start the other socks, and once I get to the same point, I'll divide what's left of the coordinating skein and finish them up. My intention was to write patterns for all of these socks. I think that's also partly why I've stalled. I've discovered that while I do enjoy the design process, the whole writing up a pattern and getting it out is a little less enjoyable. But I know there was some interest in these way back when I first introduced them. So at the very least, I would like to finish these socks whether I end up writing patterns for them or not. So yeah, another keeper. There's all my yarn labels in here. That's a good refresher, because I'd kind of forgotten about them. Maybe I'd blocked them out. I don't know. Okay, I think I know what's in here. See if I'm right. Yes. So this project has been on the go for many years now. It is the winter, I think it's called Winter Solstice Shawl. No, Longest Night Shawl. It's by Lori Law of Ocean Wind Knits, who I used to work with and before she moved back to Ontario. And so she's dyed this gorgeous yarn and designed the pattern. And I've had this going, and I usually try and bring it out during December to work on it at least a little bit. I just want to make sure, yeah, I'm missing a point protector here. I just see if it's in the bag. I don't want to lose any stitches off of here. I don't see it, so I'll just have to be very careful. This is a very delicate lace shawl knit from the top down. So here's the center spine. It's a triangular shawl with this lovely lace pattern. This is a keeper. I don't care if this takes me 10 more years to knit. It is something I do want to finish one day, just to say I did, because it is so huge. And now that I've seen it again, kind of been reminded of it, it is December, and I should try to put in a little bit of time on this month. So yes, another keeper for sure. I started this out in a much smaller project bag that used this fabric, and then since then it's had to move. And I also tucked in here, this is an old notebook of projects. I always keep tabs of projects I'm working on, so I can always just pick this up and I know exactly where I need to start again. Which occurred to me, I didn't see my notes in with my Downton Abbey socks. I know they're around somewhere, but I'm gonna have to track them down. All right. This I started, I don't know if I started last year or started it early this year. This is the, what's it called? It's a Stephen West pattern. It's the Aurora cabin shawl. And it was the, I think, Khyber knit along for last year. And I loved it as soon as I saw it. And I figured out, I actually had 2 different combinations of yarns from my stash. And I still have the other 5 skeins set aside together. But I chose to start knitting this one. And it is very lovely. But you know what? I'm kind of done with it. He said that you could carry all of the yarns for this section along the side of the shawl. I found it really awkward. I found it really thick and bumpy and ugly, and so I ended up weaving in all my ends as I was going. But even that, it's not fun because of the kind of stitch pattern there is. They just don't weave in as easily as if you're just knitting a row of stockinette, because then I can just literally knit them in as I go. But yeah, I've kind of lost the love for this. I still think it's a beautiful pattern, and I really like the one he put out this year too. But no, I'm gonna frog this and get it off my conscience and reclaim this yarn and knit it into something else beautiful, because they are on their own. Like, this is a forget-me-not colorway I picked up in Alaska as a souvenir. Oh, this was from, what's it called? Stunning String Studio. It's gorgeous. This is some Malabrigo. And then I had 2 different skeins I was using. I guess there's only 4 colors. I had these 2 different skeins I was using for the 4th color because I didn't have enough of one. So yes, time to reclaim this yarn, get it off my conscience. So that's hitting the frog pond. Kind of sad to see it go. At the same time, it will be a relief. So the frog pile's over here. Have a lot of things in the keep pile though. Okay. Mystery bag. Oh, okay. This is one's gonna be easy. This is some leftover Knit Picks Felici. And this is, I think it's some Cascade, maybe? Cascade Heritage? Yeah, Cascade Heritage yarn. And in the stash group on Ravelry, our year of the stash and another year of stash, there have been some people that have been knitting socks from leftover yarns, and they alternate a row of self-striping yarn with a contrast. And I love the way they turn out. And this was going to be my attempt at those. But you know what? I will do it one day, but I'm going to put this yarn back in my yarn scrap stash or leftover stash, and this back in my sock yarn stash. And that's just a project for another day. So I can reclaim that project bag and get that out of the way. Okay, here's another big one. This is, I think it's Monte Rio. I think that's what this is called. Let's see. Yes, Monte Rio. I don't know how well you can see. It is a beautiful cabled sweater that I saw on the Knit Picks website. And I started to knit it out of this yarn from Queensland collection. There's my swatch. And I can't remember what it's called. This yarn has tried to be a couple of different things. So I have some full skeins, and I have some that I've washed and reclaimed. Yeah, Queensland collection rustic tweed in color 904. Now, I really enjoyed knitting this, and I actually got quite a way into it. You can see I've already divided for the sleeves. It's coming along beautifully, but what may not be so obvious in this light is that the skeins, some are lighter and some are darker. And it was fine as long as I was knitting one skein on the back and one skein on the front. But as soon as I joined the work in the round, it became obvious that the yarns were different colors. And I thought I could just sort of alternate skeins going forward, and that I would be okay with that. But then you can really see where it changes. And so my plan was to sort of start over and alternate skeins throughout. But what I think I'm going to do is just frog this entire sweater, as hard as that's going to be, because I'm sitting there and I don't want to work on it, because I know what I have to do and I'm avoiding it. So I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off. I'm going to frog the whole thing, wash the yarn, put it away, and it might become something else. It may become this again, because I really still like the idea of the project. I just don't know that I want to go there again. You know, when I first started, like, I was really in love with it, and as you can see, got quite far on it, but there's other projects I want to do more now, and so I don't have that same drive. And so, yeah, time to reclaim that yarn and those needles. Just realizing I've got Ziplocs that are open here, and I want to make sure to protect the yarn from little critters. It is in a zippered plastic bag, but just to be safe, I'm just going to do this now while it's in front of me. Ah, there's some stitch markers down there too that I like. Okay, goodbye, Monte Rio. Kind of sad, but I think it's the right thing to do. All right. This is yarn I have set aside for the Hinterland sweater. I had begun it, done pretty well all the yoke, and then it didn't fit properly. So I took it all out, and I do have plans to knit it again, but it's already been frogged and reskeined. I just happen to have the yarn sitting here in my project bin, so that's definitely a keeper. I just don't know when that's going to happen. It may not be this year. My throat is getting very dry. Okay, I know what this is. This is my Ranunculus. I finally got around to trying it. I think it was this past year. I combined some Quince & Company Chickadee in the Goldfinch colorway with some lace weight yarn from it's from Ornagi Folati. It's Merino Oro. And you know, I did enjoy doing the yoke and everything. And this is how the yarns look. Whoops. Knit together. But you know, I never washed them together. I have no idea what's going to happen once I wash this, whether that lace is going to fuzz up, which I kind of hope it does. But you know what? I've fallen out of love with this. And you know, I'm past the yoke. I think the yoke was the fun part. Maybe I was worried about the sizing. You know, I don't remember, but yeah, I'm gonna frog this one. It's gonna be a pain in the you-know-what because I have 2 strands of lace weight and 1 strand of this going. And I think I might even be alternating. Yeah, I am. I'm alternating skeins. This is not going to be fun to rip back. But you know what? I think it's a pretty sweater. I think it's a pretty color. I think I'm just not sold on the combo of yarns. And yeah, nope. I want to do another I would like to do another Ranunculus or Love Note. I want to try both those patterns. But this one is getting frogged. Yeah, when, I don't know. It's gonna be a while, I think, because, yeah. This one's gonna take some assistance. This is when I have to bribe Cameron or something. Honey, will you help me rip out my sweater? He's done it before. He knows what he's in for. All right, what's next? This bag, my Little House on the Prairie bag. I made a couple of different Little House on the Prairie quilts, one for myself, one for my daughter. Actually made 3, one for my daughter, one for my sister, and one for me. Pretty sure I made one for my daughter. Yeah. And anyway, I made a bag with some leftover fabric, but I don't know what's in here. Oh, okay. Look at this gorgeous yarn. This is Samite, Blacker Samite Silk Blend. And I am knitting, oh, here it is. Here's the pattern. I've been knitting the, stuff stuck here. Balvraid Hap. Not a great picture. It's like a half hap, so a triangular shawl. And I think where I'm at is I'm ready for the edging. So I've done the center garter stitch triangle, and I have done the lace that runs out from there. And I think what's holding me up is, I think in the instructions I have to break this yarn and start at the other end and start knitting the edging. And I keep thinking there must be a way where I don't have to break the yarn, but my goodness, how difficult is it going to be for me to weave in an end? Why is that stopping me? So yes, I definitely should finish this. It's was not cheap yarn. It's going to be gorgeous when it's done. Yeah, this I'm keeping. Now, I haven't worked on it since the last time I did a finisher frog, but I'm still going to keep this. Oh boy, I'm looking at a big pile over there. Finishing things. All right. We're getting to close to the end. Oh, okay. This is my lounging top by Joji Locatelli. I've already decided that I'm going to frog this and reclaim the yarn. It's just sitting here waiting for that frogging to happen. So that's an easy one. Okay, here we have another stalled design project. This is knit from Sweet Georgia Yarns Party of 5 called Tofino Road Trip. And I think I was naming this Road to Tofino. And for those of you who aren't from British Columbia or Canada, Tofino is a little town on the west coast of Vancouver Island, and my husband and I have spent some holiday time in that area and stayed near Tofino and have driven that road to Tofino a number of times. It's a really twisty, turny, windy road. And my thought was to have a shawl that was easy enough to actually knit in the car, and also to feature some kind of wavy design to represent the waves in Tofino itself, with like by the ocean. There are several beaches down the west coast there that are good for surfing and all that. And so my idea was to have that, and then these represent, I don't know if you can see, maybe on a different color, these little clusters. That was like seagrass. And I was trying to use up as much yarn as possible, and I wanted to sort of one color work into the next. And I had some idea. I think what happened is I got to the end and I hadn't used up enough of the blue and the brown, and so I had another idea of how I wanted to finish it, only I don't remember what that was. And you know, I think what I should do is frog this, reclaim the yarn, and if I feel so inspired, redesign it or reknit it or work off my notes or something. I mean, it's really nice. I know I borrowed or stole some of, I think, the gold color from here for another project. So I don't even have a full 25 or 28 gram or whatever it is skein. But yeah, this one, it's time for it to go because it has sat here again since the last time I did this finisher frog it thing. So there's a bag that's conveniently sitting here. I'm just going to shove it in there and call that done for the time being. It is more than I actually realized here. Okay, I do know what's in this bag. I met up with a Ravelry friend in London back in, I think it was maybe 2013. I think it was 2013, or maybe, no, it was 2015. Yes, it was the year my dad had passed away. And We met up, Cameron and I met up with her, and she, oh, you might hear some, I've got some alerts coming up on my phone. They might make a noise. I forgot to turn off the sound, I think. So excuse that if that's the case. Anyway, we met up in London. She took us sightseeing one day, and then we went to a pub for lunch just down the street from Loop London, and then Cameron sat and had another beer, and she and I went down to the yarn shop, and she gave me this book, and I bought some yarn while I was there. Dye for Yarn. It's a 75% wool, 25% silk in the red rose losing its fire colorway, and it's a gorgeous shade of red. I bought 2 skeins, and I started making a shawl from this book. And you start by casting on the long border, and then you decrease up to, it's like a little triangular shawl, but you start out with all your stitches and decrease. And it has noops in it. And you know, with the best of my intentions to knit this shawl with this pattern as a souvenir of our time together. And you know, it's just been sitting here, and I think it's time again to just admit that it's probably not going to happen. And I think it's time to reclaim the yarn, use it for something else. It's gorgeous. I'm going to see if I can find the shawl that's supposed to be knit with it. If I can find it. Prairie Shawl. Anyway, if it hasn't happened by now, I don't think it's going to happen. So again, time to frog it, use the yarn for something else, and I can make something else out of the book, and I always have those memories whether or not I have a shawl to show for it, right? We've since lost touch. We used to be in another group together, and we kind of bonded over a certain thing that was going on in my life at the time, and it wasn't to do with my dad. And yeah, like I said, I'll remember that whether I knit the shawl or not. So it's time to let that go. We're getting down to the bottom of the bin. Let's see what's in here. I just have one more project here. And it is a project that got started back in, yes, June of 2008. It is the Very Blue-tiful Summer Stole by Joan Schroeder. And I did this as part of a club, Year of Lace. We got 4 shipments of yarn and pattern over the course of a year. And I believe I knit the other, no, I only knit one. No, sorry, that's not true. I knit 2 of the 4. One I never started because it came after this one, and I sort of thought I'll finish this one and then I will knit that one. Last time I did a finish or frog it, I thought I would give it another go. I mean, look how much I've done already. And again, I have my notes. I know exactly where to pick back up. And it is gorgeous. I don't think you can really see with the light now. We're really losing it. There, maybe with the light couch behind it, you can get a sense. There's all these different patterns. Like you've got this edging, and then you've got all these different patterns that run across, so you have to constantly be looking at your charts. It's on lace weight on teeny tiny needles. And again, as much as I wanted to persevere and finish this, I cannot see myself knitting a whole other half, let alone finishing this one. So as much as it hurts, I am going to frog this and reclaim this yarn. I just think I just have to. It's dragging me down. If it's sitting in this bag or in this bin, in this bin for this long, yeah, it's time. It's time. So I'm not going to count how many I kept, but now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 projects that I am going to frog. And as sad as that is in a way, you know, that just opens my time and space for other things. Heaven knows I have enough to knit of the ones that I already have going, and I have some that I want to cast on. And so, yeah, it'll be time consuming to actually frog these and reskein the yarn. That may not happen this month, but just having made those decisions, yeah, it just feels kind of liberating. So if you're in the same situation as I am with many, many works in progress, some long-term, and they're just not really bringing you joy anymore, or you just have to get past a hurdle in order to finish them. So you can see my light's really losing it. It's now, this is where the window is, and the sun is, I think, just gone down. Here's where my ring light is, so you can see I'm more illuminated there. Anyway, we're almost done. Yeah, if you're finding you're just not working on projects, like, it doesn't hurt every so often just to take them out, take a good look at what you have, and examine the reasons why you're not finishing them. Because often the case is there's something about them that, well, often there is a reason. I guess that's all it comes down to, because the reasons can vary. In my case, you know, my colorwork sweater, it's because I'm in for the long haul, and I need to have the motivation to sit down and work on it for big blocks of time and see some progress, and work on it when I'm not, you know, disturbed. In some cases with the designs, it's just I've hit a block. In other cases with yarn, it's just not working for me, or I'm not enjoying certain patterns. So yeah, various reasons why these are not going to get finished, but I think it's been a good exercise today to sit down and go through those, because I'm going to feel so much better when they are no longer taking up room in my whip bin. I just have a few odds and ends in here that I need to put away. But yeah, that feels good. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this special episode and a look into all of my dirty little secrets, knitting secrets, that is. Comment below if you are sort of in the same situation, or if you are one of those people who I don't know if I could ever be, that only have 1 or 2 things going at a time. I definitely admire that. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon, either on another regular episode, or you can check out Sock Season, which comes out every Sunday, hoping from now until April. We'll see how that goes. And I'm also planning another special episode, which may or may not come out before this one, about next year's make-alongs. And at some point, I would like to do a retrospective on 2023 and look ahead to my plans for 2024. So keep your eye out for all of those, and I hope to see you again really soon. Bye for now.